Jocko, I have 3 little girls, and I'm really intrigued by Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. What form of martial art would you put your kids in? That's an easy one.
Yeah. Put your kids into jiu-jitsu. Do it immediately. We kind of covered this the last podcast, and that is the fact that if you got to teach your kids, look, don't get in a street fight. Don't get into a fight in the playground. If someone wants to fight you, run away. And that's what they should do. And, later when they start to become mature enough to make real decisions, that should guide them. And occasionally, as a man, you may have to stand your ground and fight. And that's understandable. Right. But as a little kid who might be getting picked on by bigger kids, hey, somebody gets in your face, run away. If you really think you're going to get hurt, run away. So you have that self-defense mechanism already. What you don't have and what you are not born with is when that bully grabs you and pulls you to the ground or grabs you and holds onto you and won't let you leave. That is when you need to know how to grapple. And jiu-jitsu is what teaches you how to grapple. So eventually, like you just said, you do want your kids to spar a little bit. You do want your kids to know how to throw some good combinations, right? I mean, they should know how to do that. And actually the other night I was working with Dean and we were working with a couple people and he was going over some basic self-defense, and there are some legit basic self-defense moves that people should know. Someone bear hugs you, someone headlocks you. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't think about them at the high level of jiu-jitsu because we welcome someone headlocking us. Yeah, we welcome that stuff because we're so used to it. We have an advantage when we get there. But to a kid, you get thrown into a headlock. The first street fight I ever got, I can't call it a street fight. The first time I ever got into a fight was in, like 4th or 5th grade. Mm-hmm. And this kid who was definitely way stronger than me grabbed me in a headlock, was holding me on the ground and punched me in the head. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't do anything. And, it got broken up after 20 seconds by the principal. But it was okay, that wasn't cool. So what you want your kid, because if that kid would have tried to attack me when I was standing up, I could just run away from him. But once he grabbed a hold of me, all of a sudden I can't do anything. So that's why jiu-jitsu is the first thing you want to learn. It's also, as I said last time, it's the most technical thing. There's the most to learn. Mm-hmm. It's a never-ending knowledge quest. Mm-hmm. So you want to get on that quest as early as possible. Now, on top of that, and what's really good about jiu-jitsu, and again, this is something that I've talked about before, but when you talk about traditional martial arts and you imagine, a traditional martial arts dojo where people in plain white gis are standing in a very clean and Spartan facility with samurai swords hanging on the wall and they're bowing to the sensei, that implies a certain amount of knowledge will be passed and a certain amount of etiquette will be passed. And the etiquette and the knowledge that we passed will be toughness and confidence and humility. And as a matter of fact, if you go to a traditional martial arts school and you bring your kid in there and you say, I want my kid to train, what will he get out of it? One of the things they're going to say is he's going to learn to be confident or she's going to learn humility. And they will teach them that verbally.
Right.
It will be a lesson. It will be a book, almost a book lesson on this is humility and this is confidence and hold your head high. Jiu-jitsu teaches those things. Not theoretically, but for real. Because in jiu-jitsu, you will get humbled. Mm-hmm. You will get humbled by someone that's smaller than you, by someone that's weaker than you. They will submit you. They will hold you down and you won't be able to do anything about it. And that is humility. Mm-hmm. And that is where you learn humility in jiu-jitsu. And same thing with confidence. You will learn as you get better at jiu-jitsu that, hey, I know something. And I know I can handle myself in bad situations. Mm-hmm. So it truly teaches humility and confidence, not theoretically, but in a very practical sense.
Yeah.
So get your kids down to the jiu-jitsu school, get them enrolled. And, you know, we did a podcast where we talked about how to find a good jiu-jitsu school.
Yeah.
So find a good reputable place and get your kids down there. And you know what? When you bring your kids in to start jiu-jitsu, get your dang self on the mat too, because you got to know it. And everybody should know it.
Yeah, and
Except for bullies and evil people, they should be banned from jiu-jitsu because it's too powerful.
Yeah, way too much. Another element that that you might not think of right off the bat, but the fact that you'll meet friends, because jiu-jitsu, for whatever reason, I mean, it just might be the culture in general, but when you go to like the jiu-jitsu mats, you go on the mats, it's not like how you're saying like a traditional martial arts school where you're like, shh, don't talk, bow, be rigid, stand like this while the sensei's talking, say yes or no, sir. It's really, I mean, in my experience, and I've been to a lot, especially here in Southern California, that's where most of them are. It's real. Even the more rigid ones are casual. Before class, you can talk. Even during class, as long as you're not talking while the instructor's teaching.
You wouldn't do that in a school. You wouldn't do that anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
But, you know, you're practicing moves. It's of course, you don't want to deviate too much from the lesson, but it's just more social. And so you talk after class, and you'll find that the atmosphere is really conducive to gravitating towards people that have the same interests of you, even outside of jiu-jitsu. And kids especially, man, because usually the teachers are way more lenient with kids when they're running around and, you know, you're telling them, go do this move, and they might be talking a little bit about something or whatever. If they're having fun, which it is very fun, they're just going to want to do it some more. Yeah. My daughter's 2, and we found a place that could facilitate a 2-year-old situation, and she would always look forward to it because she just thinks it's just one big playhouse, the roughhousing the whole time.
It's the ultimate dream for a kid.
Yeah.
A room with padded floors and padded walls.
Yeah, and you can grab the clothes, roughhouse all you want.
Throw people to the ground.
Yeah, you're not going to get punched or kicked or, you know. Yeah, it's,
So there is a good community aspect to jiu-jitsu.
Yes, very much so.
Which Echo likes.
Very much so.